another big event on today. Got lots of combat sports on lately. UFC had their last fight night of December of 2020.
Their 677th card since COVID. I mean, they've really amazingly put on it.
Despite losing their main event,
it still was one of the best cards of the year.
And so
somehow,
let's just talk about the new main event, which was Steve Thompson, right?
Wonder Boy. I call him Wonder Man after tonight's performance.
Right. Versus Geoff Neal.
Yep.
Right? And I'm new to UFC. I was new to watching these guys in the ring. And guys, I'm already a fan of Wonder Boy.
Okay, but
he's amazing.
I've been telling you this for months now. I'll be like, you're really gonna like this guy, Wonder Boy. He's got all the attributes that I know Rachel will like. First of all,
literally, I'm watching them, and in the middle of the fight, they're in close to each other, and Neal's mouthpiece falls out, and Wonder Boy waits and lets him get it and put it back in, and then they continue the fight.
I couldn't wait, and then when you were watching him, I said that, and you were like, oh, yeah, and even the way he fights, because it's all stand up kickboxing, kind of looks, and if you go down the ground. Hey, get up. You know what I mean? I love it. And he's great at it. He's one of the best welterweights in the sport. He's got a great personality. People love a guy, obviously, if you call him
it seems genuine and authentic.
Yeah, he's not being a phony.
They're bringing up that he's so nice. But I didn't feel like he was playing to it or anything like that. I mean, he even brought up how he had called out on Twitter, Leon Edwards, I think.
Yeah.
And he was like, it was the first time it felt a little weird to do it, but I called him out in the nicest way possible. But while he's saying it, it all seems very, very authentic and genuine. I could not love this guy more.
Now, the person that, the person that Thompson called out after the fight, Jorge Masvidal, another guy who, he's also pretty much genuinely himself, it seems like. And people respond to that. So people like when you are who you are. You don't have to be the nice, whatever guy or this guy with street cred, street fighting Masvidal. Just be yourself.
Yeah,
I think people respond to that.
People respond to
that. I love that. Yeah. I would love to see that fight. Rachel, what I was thinking about during the UFC card the whole time was, man, this is exactly why I don't know about where boxing is going to be in 10 or 20 years. And I'll give you the two biggest reasons that are in my mind. First, it's that tonight was a good example. We had a really huge fight in boxing, Canelo Alvarez versus Callum Smith. And we also had some other minor boxing cards on Showtime and stuff. And then we had a UFC card. Well, the difference between the boxing and the UFC card is on the UFC card. Oh, do you want to wait around all night to watch the main event at 11 p.m. when Canelo comes out? That might be a good fight. Or here's 16 fights where even if you're semi-casual, 8 of the fighters' names, and you want to see these fights. These are all good fights. That scares me for the sport of boxing.
Well, they're all good fights, and then furthermore, they seem to come out, the fights all seem to start steady.
It's like the packaging is...
It's like, oh, this fight... I have not experienced, just one time did I experience a little bit of a wait for a main event on a UFC card. It was tiny, guys. It was tiny. It wasn't that long of a wait. It was a very tiny amount of a wait. But in boxing, you routinely experience... I'm pretty sure I tweeted out a picture of me as a skeleton tonight because that's the way it felt waiting on Canelo Smith. And the worst thing in boxing is when you think it's about to start, and then they show you the locker room scenes. You're like, they don't have their effing hands wrapped yet.
95% of your experience as a boxing manager
is you're just you get that locker room shot, and you're like, what the? They're not even close to ready.
And that's completely opposite. If you don't watch UFC cards, it's not that way.
It seems to be more.
It's so much better. I'm not talking sport versus sport. I'm saying the product itself is packaged so much better. And my other big point is that consistently, the announcers, the people that call the fights for UFC cards, they want to be there, and they love the sport. They love MMA. They love the UFC. They love the fighters, and they love watching the fights. I don't always get that. In fact, I seldom get that when I'm watching boxing. I feel like maybe 85 of the of the people
calling the fight seem a bit
they
more
don't want to be
negative.
there. They're negative. Some people, I'm like, why is this person there? I mean, it's a completely. They're so similar, and they're both combat sports. They're both ruled by the same state commissions. I don't know how one thing can do things. And I'm not even talking about you want to get into fighter pay and stuff, fine. But I'm talking about over here on the side with the television. You got the same networks sometimes, ESPN. UFC, ESPN boxing sometimes, and I'm like, how is this so much better than this? It's the same people. I don't get it.
Yeah, as far as just the product,
how they package it, how the people talk when they're on TV, like what they say and what they do, and you can really the enthusiasm that the UFC announcers have for covering the sport, and even the people that interview people, it really comes off. It really emanates from them. And in boxing, I don't consistently have that.
Did enjoy what Triller brought. Triller brought, like, it was fun. Seemed fun, and that was an exhibition boxing event, right? But it just seemed fun, and that's what I want, like, in more of boxing.
I want more. I want it to be saying people have to be
fun.
In boxing, we have Chris Mannix, who, if you watch this show, you like. Kelsey likes Chris Mannix a lot, like his work that he does. He's a great writer. Also, like what he does when he's on DAZN calling fights, because he's authentically himself, right? Mm-hmm. He says things that other people won't say, and he does things that other people won't do, but that's authentically him, and I like that. I just want to see more of what the UFC does correct, what they do well. I would like to see more of that brought into boxing, and I hope we get to see that soon. Can you believe that the UFC made so many fights this year? Like, do you remember? We would have not had any money, Rachel, because this is what we do. So I'm super grateful that they kept the ship going and showed other people how to do it, because we would have totally been screwed.
Yeah. So
right?
It's been a great year for the UFC in 2020. We really have to commend Dana White for just making it happen.
Yeah, somebody had to make it happen. I'm glad somebody made it happen, because people think about the fighters, but there's all sorts of people around this business, the fighters and
the camera guys,
all sorts of people,
matchmakers, the people that set up the arenas, all these people,
even the people that work for the fighters as they prepare for
there's
all sorts of trainers, all this stuff. The trainers, their coaches, all these people, they were able to work during the pandemic faster and easier than maybe some other things did, and that's really awesome, and I'm really grateful that happened. And I'm glad to see combat sports in general. By the end of the year, we're watching UFC. This best UFC card of the year's on, and here's this Canelo fight. And blah.
December, for boxing,
super
it's been
busy.
Amazing. It's been really great, and I'm looking forward to January.
And then this month, if this was a night, if this month was an evening, it would be Conor McGregor Eve. Because he fights next.
Hey, we're really grateful for our best fight friends. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time we do a show.
We don't get sick again forever.